Hello everybody, close and far away. This is Schnitzel Live calling from not outer space but from a shed in the middle of the Frankenjura. Tonight's guest is I would call him a forest goblin, one of those people who have kind of definitely been running around in forests, in wild places, discovering rocks. And it's a really, really big pleasure to kind of welcome tonight Jacky Godoffe. Hey, Jacky, how you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks to welcome me. Happy to welcome you in Font. Unfortunately, Font is closed at the moment, but it's still here, not far from here. 1 kilometer from here, very, very close. But just a dream at the moment.
I saw a small video of you where you were talking about the magic about the forest. Can you tell me what is magical about the forest for you, Jacky?
Honestly, what is magic in the forest? Honestly, I don't know. It's exactly why it's magic. It's in the same time the same environment, but always different. The same trees, the same places, but not really the same. So it's always surprising for me. I don't have any answer. I suppose if I would have any answer about the why, maybe it won't be exciting anymore. It's just because it's impossible to explain. It's just a place. It's a unique place for me. But not only because of the trees, because of the forest, but because also of the environment, because of the evolution, because of people, because of myself. I don't know. It's an alchemy. Yes, it's a magic place for sure. But I don't know why. No, I don't know why. I'm not alone to think that the forest is magic. So probably it's a feeling that many people also think the same me. So
I mean, I can totally agree, because for me personally, whenever I kind of discuss climbing and discuss bouldering, I just keep telling people, like for me the most interesting place or for springtime or autumn time is the place where you live very close to, and it's got some really old energy, I think, which for myself I can feed off, because it puts me back into some place, It's like, I feel like a child when I'm there. And, whenever I talk to friends who have family and kids, I go like, just take them to the biggest playground. They're going to have a good time. Everybody's going to have a good time. So,
Yeah, it's the right word. I think it's exactly what you say. It's a playground. It's a fantastic playground. I think if you're here, you feel like a kid. Even if, okay, I'm not a kid, I know, but I feel like a kid. Even today, but when the last time I climbed in the forest, face to a boulder, yes, I feel like a kid. I don't know what happens. I'm just happy to play. And that's it. It's easy. In the same time, it's hard. It's difficult, but it's easy. It's magic.
Yeah. Can we talk about creative process and creativity? Because I think that's, for me, it's a very important aspect of human life. And can you explain or try to explain what is creative about climbing, or also about route setting for you?
I would say that I started first with climbing and then with route setting. And for me, creativity is just the exploration of the uniqueness of any person. None of the climbers are similar to the other one, like the human beings. So we see the same things, but we are not the same. We don't have the same feeling. So it's for me, I always had the feeling that between the rock and me, it was a special relationship, which is totally different from any people. So for me, the creativity in the rock is exactly the alchemy between the inspiration of the rock and what you can put in the balance to play because it's a game. Yeah, I would say creativity like this, and then for route setting, it's exactly the same. Uniqueness again. You try things, and for example, what I could say I remember when I was walking in the forest and see a rock which was not climbed. I didn't know what to expect. I think, okay, why not? But I I didn't know exactly what to expect with this.
Ah.
So it's in the same really exciting. You are in route setting, for example, you have a blank page. Your wall is empty of holes, and you have to do something. But how to do it, you have no idea.
Right.
And you can find tools, but then creativity is just the moment when you decide to do something with the piece of rock or the piece of wall that you have in front of you. So yes, I'm really for me, I think creativity is the main word in climbing and also in life.
Yeah. Would you consider route setting, or would you consider climbing an art form?
As
would you think about climbing and route setting, for example, as a form of art, an expression like art?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think art is something different. No, I wouldn't say so. It's maybe because first of all, I was a musician, so for me, the art is something different.
Right.
No, something different. This is a sport. This is no, it's not art. I don't know this because I think sometimes you can have the feeling that you can put a piece of art, for example, in route setting, but it's not art. It's just your personal touch about what you are doing. Uh-huh. But no, I'm not a fan of the idea that it's something artistic. Right. It's something very creative. Something that you have to offer to the other one, to yourself first, because it's the first step is yourself, but then you share with the others. And no, for me the term art is not the right one. I always think that when we decide, when I do some discussion with other setters, and especially when I do some workshop, I think no, it's not art. It's something different. It's hard to explain, but for me, the art is it's a different perspective.
Thank you very much. I found a quote of Daniel Dennett, which is like a philosopher, and you know, I'm going to read it out to you. And he says, the secret of happiness is find something more important than you are, and dedicate your life to it. And I think this is a quite fitting example of you, because I mean, what I can see with your life is that you're not just being a climber for yourself, but you've developed coaching, you developed route setting, and you also work like as a team member with other people, and I think that's quite amazing.
Yes, I don't know. Yes, I think it's my genetic. Yes, I like to be happy. I try to be happy with every moment I live, even if some moments are quite hard. Yes, it's my way of doing. Sometimes it has limits, I would say, because you cannot be happy of everything. But I try to always to see the positive things in what I am doing, and for sure it helps. It helps also to communicate good vibes around you. Yeah. It's not always very easy to deal with, I mean, inside, because it's a big paradox. You can seem happy, but sometimes it's not always true, you know. Yeah. So it's my way of doing things. I'm very positive, and yes, I always try to be happy. Yeah. It's beyond my control. It's in my genetic. I didn't choose that. I don't know why, but yes. And I realized during, especially the climbing, the route setting career, if we could speak about career, that it helps to open many doors, to be positive, and to feel the confidence, and to pass the confidence to the other, even if you don't always have this confidence inside yourself. So, right. So it helps. Yeah, it helps. It helps a lot.
I'm just putting a picture in because it was more or less very fitting. And you sent me a few pictures, and there's one picture of you kind of just probably carrying around a big volume and just smiling your head off. And you I mean, I have to say, Jacky, you definitely look like somebody who's definitely enjoying what they're doing.
Yes, I think I was lucky enough during my life. I don't know if I did the right or the wrong choice, because in many moments I had to decide between two different ways. And I would say that I was lucky enough to always enjoy what I was doing. And honestly, I'm not retired now, but I will be soon, maybe in 2 or 3 years. Even if I don't know what is to be retired, I don't know. But I didn't have the feeling that I have ever worked before. But even I worked during 15 years as a teacher, so it's
Okay.
a work. I worked for 20 years as a trainer, routesetter, and it's also kind of work, but I never had the feeling to be in the work with bad feelings. Yeah, it's just a game. Yeah, it's always very, very pleasant. And for example, during this period, it's really hard for me to do nothing, because being at home with the kids and try to be focused on different things, and maybe for me at least I play more music than usually. It's not so bad, but it's not enough. It's not enough.
You seem like a very active character, active person. I mean, what's hard for you at the present?
Well, for the moment, I try to adapt myself to the situation, but I'm lucky. I'm not sick. I have a home. I can eat. You know, when I see around in some countries people dying everywhere, so I'm really lucky. I wouldn't complain. But the fact is, I have to find some moments. So I try to keep a routine. You know, I won't be super strong as I was before, because of the age. It's normal. In one moment, it's impossible to be better. But I still want to be in a good shape. So I train maybe 2 hours in the morning, and then 1 hour in the evening. I do musculation. What I never do, but it's the only thing I can do at the moment. So we will see. It's at least it's something that I didn't explore a lot at the moment. So some of my friends gave me a kind of a program so we will see. Maybe I will become bodybuilder. No, I don't think so.
I mean, the big question is, do you follow the program, or are you ignoring it at the moment? Are you doing
I adapt the program because I was never convinced that program is the best thing for people. I think the best thing that you have to do as a climber, in my opinion, is to adapt the program, to adapt the things to yourself, and to do what you feel is good for you. So yes, I have some programs that I do in my own way, because I always did it like this. I don't want to copy or to replicate something that was proposed by others. So I try to make adaptations and to experiment and to make mistakes and to learn and to make more mistakes and then to learn. Hopefully I won't break, but we'll see. For me, it's more a way of doing things, and most of the time I'm also with the French team and also with the other team, because I sometimes work with the German team or US team. I like to propose them, or to enforce, but to tell people that they have to be creative and to adapt themselves to the others, and not to say to follow just programs because programs are good. I think programs are good, of course. We need programs. We need people doing programs. But I think for the best people, for the best climbers, for the best athletes in general, they have to understand what they are doing, and they have to think about what they are doing, and maybe to adapt this. Because it's not enough to follow. It's better to be actor than just spectator. But it's my my philosophy. That fortunately I'm not a trainer, but it's my idea of the transmission of things.
It's a very interesting subject, because I think in general, you know, it's easier for people to follow like a set routine, and I know a lot of people now in the climbing world, you know, giving out training plans and stuff. But I think for myself, I feel the same. You know, if there's something about yourself you need to realize first, and then when you feel, for example, motivated about one route or one climb, you know, something starts. You know, like there's a little spark coming up, and then you feel like you want to go there. I mean, for me, that's what it is. You know, I only get motivated if I really want to climb one route or something I like. You know, it's not about I want to get stronger in general. If I find something which really pleases me and I like the look of it, I feel like I want to maybe conquer it and maybe not.
For sure, I totally agree. I think it's possible. Yes, with programs, you become stronger. You have more strengths. You can develop some skills. But the main thing is here, and the difference between, in my opinion, between the best in the world, whatever athletes, businessmen, it's what they can develop more than the others. Not because they are copying what the other are doing, but because they are innovating. So for me, innovation is a huge part of the process. Even in climbing, I think in climbing, in music, in everything, in music it's the same. You can see everything is in the internet. You can have tutorial about how to play music, but in one moment, if you want to play music, you have to propose something from yourself, or something different. For me, it's important, but it's just my.
It's okay, man. Don't worry about it.
It's not philosophy, my way of thinking, and probably I'm wrong for many people, but it's what I trust. So it's the main thing.
Have you had any people you looked up to when you started climbing, or the first few years? Did you have a feeling that there were some people in the climbing scene in Fontainebleau, or people coming from the outside, even where you felt like this energy of this person is very, very nice or interesting, or were there people who come to mind?
Yes, it happened many, many times, but not always because of the level of the people, but again because of their way of thinking what they were doing. It's not about the grade, because now you can admire someone just because he's able now to do a 9B, for example. For me, it has no sense. For me, I met a lot of fantastic people, but not about the grade, but about the philosophy, the process they developed to go from the starting point to another point, even to have medals or to have to do hard things, projects. For me, the process is as important as the outcome. Okay, the outcome is important, sure, but the process, the quality and the innovation of the process is for me something that I admire more than basically the results with the number on the ladder.
What did you personally? I mean, this is just a personal question. What did you learn out of the process of bouldering, for example, for yourself?
What did I learn? Yes, you have to change the doubt. I think with the confidence, you have to change the doubt, because you don't know if you can succeed or not by your result. And you never know what will be the result. And I would say that the more confident you are, the more confidence and the more stronger you are for sure, the more confident and positive you are, the more you can push the boundaries. It was also always my feeling with the process, even for hard boulders, and also it's the same for setting. You start with doubt, you don't know exactly what will happen, but you try to develop some things with your mind, with tools, with I don't know, whatever, and then you come to results. And this is interesting. This process is the most interesting thing, because the result is always someone can appreciate the results, or another one can say, okay, no, this is not that good because he did that, but we can do it like that. Also, for me, but it's what I'm saying now. But when I think honestly, when I was way stronger and probably super strong when I tried to send some hard boulders, I was in a different philosophy than now. Yes, I just wanted to be, I don't know, the stronger. Yes, I was really egocentric. I assumed that. And I didn't want to beat the other, but I want to be the strongest. For one moment, with this letter and with this number. So, it's what I say now, but I know that in the past I was a little bit different. So there is a difference between, just because I'm getting older, and so I learn that it's not enough. But it's not a critic when I say that. I think it's important when you want to push the boundary to have a big ego. Mm-hmm. This is important. Yeah, it's very important. And all the best athletes or climbers I ever met has the same ego, very developed, just because it's impossible to do it without. Yeah. And then you learn that it's not enough and it has limits.
Oh, yeah.
So you become weaker. So not weaker, but you realize that at the end, okay, the result, you can be proud of the result because you did the first 8A, the first 8B. Yeah. But then you understand that what was really fascinating was the process, and not this famous day that when you send this boulder, because in general, when you send it, it will just easy.
Yeah.
And interesting perspective. For example, when I started climbing, I was very unstable, so I did a lot of sport before climbing, and I was really surprised. I'm surprised I never stopped with climbing. Really surprised. And why? But yes.
That's amazing.
It was a surprise for me.
I have a question from the audience, and one person is asking, was there a turning point when you realized that climbing hard was not all there is? Was there a turning point when you realized that the process of doing something was more important than just going crazy and going hard? Do you still remember this turning point or not?
No, because it was step by step. It was slow. No, it was step by step. Step by step, because in one moment I think something is surprising for you, once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and then it started. From my side, it started to be a little bit boring because it's a bit repetitive, and it's also hard because for me, for example, I'm very huge fanatic of nice lines in rock. In general, I want to be inspired by rock, and it's quite hard to find a project in one moment that you feel that you have something to do with this project, because this relationship between me and the rock was always super important.
Yeah.
Maybe in some exceptions, I did some exception in one moment with super hard boulder because I really wanted to do this boulder for example, to be the first to do the first 8B, and it was a shit boulder, but it was just for the grade, I would say. Right. But I did that only once, and then I realized that it was not enough, because I think the lines, it's not about this grade that you propose, but it's about how to share the emotion with people when they look at that and they say, wow, it's a cool boulder, or it's a cool, if it's I think it's not possible to replicate this in competition, because the boulder disappeared very fast. But with boulder outside, I think it's something that is really, really important. To share emotion with people through the boulder you have set is maybe more satisfying than to have sent it, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like there's a certain bond, there's a certain aspect of human existence and social aspect, because I think it's a really nice feeling when you just have people enjoying one boulder together, and you exchange everything, you exchange the emotions and everything.
Yes, and even I think at the beginning when I started climbing, for example, I think the number of climbers in the forest was maybe 200. Something like this, and maybe the small circle of the passionate, it was 10 or 12.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how it's it's maybe 1,000 times more people. Right. And in the one hand, it creates problem with maybe sometimes with the forest, but in the other hand, I would say that it's really cool to see more and more people appreciate climbing, not only in Fontainebleau, because I think I've been in many other areas. I'm not a fanatic only of Fontainebleau. I'm a fanatic of Peak District. I'm a fanatic of Waco. Yes, I'm a fanatic of many other places. So this is very important, to have this, to try to communicate this there's this communication with people through frontiers, and now it's more and more developed with many countries, many people, and now most of the time, because I climb or I met people younger than me, but it's, what I see in their eyes is the same flame, mine now and the mine when I started. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Even some people think that competitors are not just a plastic addicts, but it's totally wrong. I think some of those, they are just, for some of them that are, I would say, plastic addict, it's just maybe because they don't have enough rocks or enough time. But no, this is wrong. They are all people I know, and I know a lot of the best athletes. They really love rock climbing, and they love climbing, and they don't love only competition.
Yeah.
Competition is small, small part, an important part, but important because you can share, you can show what you are doing, and you can share this emotion with also spectators, people that don't understand climbing, and this is also very, very interesting. This is interesting.
One thing I really wanted to kind of ask you is, because obviously I live in the Frankenjura now, and I know Kurt Albert, for example, loved the forest of Fontainebleau. Did you spend time with Kurt climbing, or did you meet him?
Yes, I spent time with Wolfgang Gülich a long time ago, because we had the opportunity to climb together many times. We worked for the same company, the famous Boreal Ninja, at the early beginning. So yes, so I met them many times. Interesting person, very positive, so enthusiastic, crazy person. I didn't see him for long, but I remember his face and his fantastic energy. Great man.
So, I mean, you're sitting at home close to a really nice forest with some blocks in it, and you're reading books.
Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe there's no block left now. Maybe they are gone. I don't know. Who knows? Look at that, it's dark. Maybe someone came and stole all the boulders. Huh? Who knows? We will see next month.
Do you reckon the Germans took them? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
You're reading books now. Are you thinking about writing a book in the next month?
Oh yes, I read a lot of books. In the normal time, I don't have enough time to read, so now I read more. Even if I have to move, but yes, and it was interesting, because the last book I read was the biography of Nelson Mandela, and it was interesting. It was quite long, because usually I read quite fast, but it was in English, and it was not a piece of cake to read this book, wrote by his hand, and it's a very interesting idea of a lockdown for 35 years. So when I see what we face now, it's a piece of cake, huh? It's a piece of cake.
I can only imagine.
No, but it's interesting, and a lot of his thoughts in the book are quite inspiring. This guy was amazing. Okay, it was totally different than sport, but I would say that for me, I'm very curious in general in literature. I read a lot of things in different fields than climbing, and I sometimes found parallels between what we are doing in climbing, which is nothing for the planet. I would say it's just leisure, and some what did guys like Mandela, or what did the guys, the doctor at the moment, it's totally different, but what we are doing is important. I think it's important. Anyway, it's not as important, but it's respiration. We make people through climbing or the sport in general dreaming, and it's not so bad to dream.
The world is still going on around you. I can hear it.
Oh yes.
Or like some other people would say, "À la vache," but this is my only French I can say.
À la vache, yes, that's it. Really, really cool. My cat is watching me here. He said, "What is he doing here?"
What's your cat's name?
My cat's name, he has no name.
No name?
No, he has no name. No, he has no name. It was a present for one of my daughter, and he has no name. The cat.
Nice. It's the nameless cat.
But if I try to show you the cat, I think he will be disappeared. It's faster than me, for sure.
Well, listen, Jacky, I really appreciate the talk with you tonight. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Is there anything is there anything you want to add? Because
no. Thanks for the experience. Really, it's super unusual for me, this kind of thing. Again, I don't know if it's interesting or not, but it was a good moment with you, and it was, and again, something unexpected for today. I did something different than yesterday, so it's cool. Thank you for that. And yes, maybe. And I love discussing with people. So discussing with people through a screen is not the thing I rather like. So I like to touch people. I like to contact, but no contact. So
no,
soon. Soon we'll be here together. And
okay, Jacky, listen, you're a legend. Thank you so much for coming around. And hopefully the next time I drop by, or you're gonna show me the process of climbing a slab, maybe.
Oh yeah, I have to train. So okay, I promise. Maybe not.
Okay. Oh well, stay in the line, Jacky. I'm just gonna take you out for a second. Yes, it's working.